My name is Viktor Chirkin, and I want to tell a story today about how I started making cheese just a few years ago. It all started back in 2012 when traveling through Europe and Switzerland in particular. I got really fascinated with their cheese culture, and even though I haven't traveled famous dairies or other cheese making places like Gruyere, it still really got me enticed. And after coming back home from that trip, and by the way I'm from Ukraine, and that is Eastern Europe, from time to time I started buying cheeses imported from Europe, and I got my taste developed towards them and started really liking them. Back in 2012 when I traveled, I remember coming back home and giving my parents a taste of cheese that I brought back with me, and we compared that with the cheese that my mom made, because just 2 years prior to that, in 2010, my parents moved from a larger city to small countryside. They got some goats and started making cheese, and it wasn't anything fancy. We didn't know too many techniques or recipes, and we were just making basic, kind of farm style cheese, but it turned out pretty good. And in 2014, I kind of changed my life quite drastically when we moved from the city to this place, and we started living in that house that you see there, which my parents built, and it is a straw bale house. And when we moved, we really wanted to do some kind of homesteading. We didn't know exactly whether this is going to be more of a gardening or working with animals or poultry. In 2015, about a year after we moved, we thought, why should we be looking into something that we haven't had any experience in, while my parents already did 4 or 5 years of goat keeping, making some cheese and also making some sourdough bread. And it started off with that. My parents were already selling some sourdough bread and some cheese to people who lived in the area, and I decided, why not try to expand on that and try my hand at it. So I started with a sourdough, and I learned it quite quick, and it didn't seem that hard to me. And I mostly was working with the whole wheat sourdough breads. And at the same time, as my mom was making, some soft cheeses, just basic curd cheeses with goat milk, I got really interested, how did they make cheese back before it was all industrialized? How did they, come up with all of those different types of cheese and tastes, since they didn't have all of those, cultures that you have to buy now, right? They didn't have all those laboratories who were developing them. And I got on a journey of figuring out how it used to be, and I found this book, The Art of Natural Cheesemaking, by David Asher. He's a Canadian cheesemaker, homesteader, and basically what he did, he traveled and learned those traditions and compiled all of them into one book. And it seemed like coincidence, but it wasn't, that only about half a year prior to my interest in it, this book was published, and once I found it, I downloaded it and read through it in few sittings and started making cheese. And it happened in January of 2016, which is barely 2.5 years ago. And since that time, I was making cheese, regularly, and got to the point of making it almost every day last year. And as of right now, we keep about 15 dairy goats, and we also buy some cow milk from our friends. And in total, we process about 500 to 700 liters of milk weekly, making a few kinds of cheese, some yogurts, desserts, and also make some sourdough bread, and we sell it, and that's how we make our living. So this is my small story, and I want this to be like a start to a series of videos where I want to share my experience, what I've learned in these years, and show that making cheese at home is much easier than you thought it could be. You don't have to have any special equipment to buy any special, cultures and stuff like that. But basically working with a good quality, preferably raw milk, you can make some amazing variety of cheeses, and if laws allow, you probably could even make a living out of it. So I hope you will enjoy this journey, and I will try to post a video a week sharing my experiences, and if you guys have any questions, please comment. If you like this video, leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming your way. Thank you so much for your attention. See you later. Bye.